さっさと吐いてくれる?
They say every job shapes who you are, but what if your job was torture itself? Welcome to the everyday life of part-time torture workers, which is confirmed to get an anime set to air in Jan of 2026, with no details of the studio and staff as of now released. The everyday life of part-time torture workers is a world where murder and torture are legal. Among the many torture contractors, Spiritus is one of the leading corporations that only targets villains and treats its employees well. 4 part-time workers work comfortably there. The caring senior Zero, the living legend Siu, the energetic Mike, and the serious but kind Hugh. There's also a garbage man, a janitor, and even a hitman, not to mention pleasant and dependable specialists. Every day with these unique co-workers is unexpectedly chill in this slightly dark workplace comedy. The core gimmick in the everyday life of part-time torture workers is the contrast between the mundane workplace environment and the gruesome work they actually have to do, giving the audience a dark comedy work slice of life hybrid, with the premise being grim, but the tone actually deliberately relaxed, trying to create some kind of absurdity, style-wise. One of the interesting points in the core of this series is how the world has normalized what we would consider extreme cruelty, murder, and torture. The story centers on the everyday shifts and interactions of part-time employees at a legal torture outsourcing company with a company position in universe as a high-tier, worker-friendly firm that claims to target evil people, which provides the series' internal justification for its operations with the actual manga structured as a 4 basically a sequence of short chapters episodes rather than one long continuous plot allowing for recurring comedic beats. While the subject matter itself is dark, the work follows a reliable genre of office comedy, with the characters hanging out, chatting, goofing around, taking part-time shifts. The humor often comes from the mundane interactions in an utterly abnormal context. For example, friendly banter, just another shift, discussing schedules, etc. The art style is what I would call cute, adding to the effect of trying to show a contrasting work environment, with the actual gore torture scenes drawn with detail. They work sharp, but not so over the top as to become overly stimulant. The characters begin with the protagonist Sarah, who is a part-timer and is someone who enjoys the job in a fulfilled way, but dwells in a psychopathic way. He is considered to be as reliable and can casually discuss an extreme torture method with the same pleasant, helpful tone one uses while explaining how to operate a photocopier. Basically, the ace of this company. Then we have the living legend of torture, Siu, who is a veteran part-time senior colleague to Zero and highly experienced in the business, playing the role of the seasoned pro who guides Zero, and the newer recruits, playing the calm and cool senior who obviously knows his stuff. Within our Mike, one of the newer part-time recruits who plays more of a cute, lively, hardworking employee whose enthusiasm often leads to awkward scenarios when dealing with torture equipments or protocols. Finally, we have Hugh, the serious yet kind-hearted college student who is often the most cautious or internally conflicted of the 4. Thankfully, he approaches the job with a sense of duty and is the one who is still slightly shocked by the office's casual evil, acting as a character that helps the audience connect with the dissonance of the torture world. These character archetypes represent what one would see in a normal company, at least in an anime setting, and works for quick comedic interplay. Coming to what looks promising. As of now, the staff and studio details have not been announced, so I cannot comment on them, but the episodic format is definitely a strength in terms of comedic rhythm and accessibility, as the short structure allows for bite-sized humor and surprises. In addition, the legalized torture as a part-time job premise is unique and highly effective at generating buzz, not to mention interesting at a first glance. But the central theme of torture isn't something that every person can vibe with. Now, what I don't get is the reason for making a world where torture is legal. I guess it does have some realistic significance with the idea of punishing criminals who are set free due to politics or whatever. But other than that, if the main reason for this is to normalize the unthinkable, to turn an ad that is universally condemned into a routine kind of job and then explore how humans adapt to that normalcy, then the series doesn't really do the job I was expecting out of it. Rather, it turns the series into a black comedy that works, is interesting, and will find its audience, but I think it would have more fun to see a more serious aspect or perspective taken into consideration, but that's just my opinion. The success of the comedy is heavily reliant on the novelty of the initial premise, and it is highly possible for the central joke to become predictable over time. Which is why I think the everyday life of part-time torture workers will debut as a moderately streaming success, achieving around a 7.1 to 7.4 average rating on my anime list during its airing season, largely driven by curiosity over its premise. So who should watch this? You can give this anime a try if you're a fan of dark comedy, workplace slice of life, and satirical humor that relies on deadpan delivery and tonal contrast. Specifically, this series will resonate with viewers who enjoy the subversive workplace comedy of titles like The Devil is a Part-Timer and Life Lessons with Uramichi-Oniisan. If you enjoyed this video, then do consider subscribing to my channel for more.